Hey everybody, it's Christine, and today I have got a new Simple Stories project for you. This one is using their Simple Vintage Great Escape. Now, if you're a follower here on my channel, you're thinking, Simple Vintage, how's this gonna work? I often think that when I get out the Simple Vintage stuff. That said, I have never been disappointed yet. Simple Stories and me just connect. So, stay tuned and keep watching and see what I do with this. So the first thing you can see is I've got this giant 10-inch circle, and I've also got a giant picture. And what I'm going to do is use about 2/3 of the circle for my picture. So I put the picture right onto this circle template, if you will, and I'm going to trim around it. Now, I do want to note one thing. I end up not liking the picture on the side that I put it on. So I end up off camera going back and switching it. And you can see right away, like, it's not the best on that side because of where my husband and son are placed, where the street sign is placed, and where the white space lands. And so I'm going to change that off screen. So if you're watching it and you're like, wait, what? That's not how she cut it. That's why. Now, the second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add some patterned paper to the other third of the circle. And right now you can see I'm just flipping through the different papers that I think might work. And I ultimately decide on this really pretty green one that has a real light pattern on it. Just a pretty complement to all the green that is in the photo. So I am going to just go ahead and add that and use the exact same process that I just did with the picture. My picture I printed off on my home printer, and I did it on 8.5 by 11 paper. I can't go any bigger than that. I love the 12 by 12 option, but I also love the printer that I have. I think it does a great job printing pictures. So I'm happy with 8.5 by 11. And so this is a good option for me. I also have a printing plan, so I don't have to worry like I had to print the picture a second time to make it work on the circle. No big deal. Other than, losing one sheet of photo paper, but that, again, it's worth it to make the design work right. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is begin to build the base of my layout. I've cut out this plaid paper from the collection, and I have added it. Now, you can see not a real strong vintage feel. I definitely, on this one, gravitated to the papers that were a more traditional feel to them than the vintage ones. But my point in that is I want you to see that the collection is not so vintage that you can't totally make it work within your style. And you can reference back here on my channel. In fact, I will link you to them at the end. There are at least 2 other layouts that I've done with their simple vintage collections. And both of them are ones that turned out really cool without being so vintage that they go away from my style. So I will definitely link you up to that at the end. Now, you can see I've moved the photo over. I've got the green on that side, and I lined up my green patterned paper with the plaid pattern paper in the background of the base of the layout. That was an intentional design move so that the picture really just pops on its own and is not up against any patterned paper. Now I'm adding my title. My title is from the chipboard in this collection, and I'm also going to add some greenery. This collection contains an I can't say that word this morning. Bits and pieces die cut pack that is all foliage. So that is what I used for a lot of my pieces here. And I think I can say it now, ephemera. There we go. You can tell it's early in the morning and I am not a morning person. So sorry about that. But you can laugh with me at my little mistakes. So now I'm flipping through the 4x6 sticker book, and this is just a really cool sticker book. It's got a lot of really great options every time. It's one of my favorite products, and I think they're doing some revamping to the size of it. But that said, I like having the option of a lot of different things. In this case, I used it to help build out my title a little bit more. So now you can see the next step that I'm doing is I am building up with some of ephemera in the corner there. And well, not really the corner, but the corner of the circle, if that makes sense, the opposite side of the circle at the bottom. And just, I'm doing layer after layer of these ferns, wanting to create a just giant cluster. And you can see that I have combined using both my Easy Runner Grand to get some flatness, but I'm also adding in little 3D foam squares to pop some things up. So it has a really cool look to it in the end. Now, this layout is actually pretty uncomplicated, despite how long it takes me to put it together, based on the length of this video and stuff. It's not a super complicated layout. It's actually really quite simple. It just has layers of similar elements. But I also think when you do things like this with a circle with your picture, it really takes the layout up a notch. It gives it an extra level of technicality that really isn't a lot of extra work or a lot of extra product, but it just upgrades the look a little bit. And so that is where this one kind of lands. I mean, the amount of product that I use and stuff is not tremendous, nor is the amount of work behind it. So keep that in mind, you know, and some days I have layouts that are super technical and a lot of work. Other days I have layouts like this that are pretty simple and straightforward. And I like to mix that up because I know you as the viewers like that too. Some of you like very simple, straightforward. You want something you can knock out in 30 to 45 minutes. And sometimes you want to play and spend hours on it. And so definitely try and focus on that here on the channel. It is also a one picture layout, which is unusual, semi-unusual for me. Sometimes that happens because I just have one picture from the moment. But when you've got a picture this big, you have to, like, you're limited in how many you can use. Now, I do want to just tell the cuteness of the story behind this picture because I think it's fun. So we call this son that you see in the picture our little raccoon because he looks very sweet and can charm you, but then every once in a while he just turns on you and releases the claws. And so his favorite animal is a raccoon. We call him a raccoon. So we were out walking to a hiking trail and found this sign for Raccoon Drive. So we just had to take a picture and make sure to document that memory so we don't ever forget. So I love it when things like that happen. You just kind of stumble into a fun life moment. Now you can see that I've added on some butterflies. I'm also playing around with if I want to add Lake Placid up there in the corner. And right now I'm feeling like there's just too many words because of the street signs that it's just distracting. So I may just toss that onto the back side in my journaling. But I am going to use some of this cool map washi tape. And you can see I'm tearing it in half, and I'm gonna do that along the white edges there just to play up a little bit of the vintage feel, add another little detail to my layers. And I just really wanted to use this washi tape. I really liked it, so I wanted to find a way to work it into the design without taking away from the design. So this was a really good way to do it. On its own, at the full size, it was too thick. But when I was tearing the strips in half, not only did it change the look completely, it also just made it a little bit thinner so it wasn't a distraction. Plus, it's washi tape, so it's not hard to tear. So this is just a cool way to add a little bit of a different look to your washi tape on a layout. And again, I just added it along those white edges, but you can see how it brings that light beige color over to that side of the layout and helps to tie the whole layout together with it in there. My last addition is going to be just some brads, and I'm going to use those to add a pop of color, a pop of dimension, and some added texture with those metal pieces in there. Now, as a reminder, I do have some other Simple Vintage Stories, Simple Stories collections that I would love for you to check the videos out on. I will link you to that playlist right now, and you can check those out if you haven't already seen them. Thanks so much for stopping by today, and we will see you again next time.